Welcome to a new episode of the Energy Bridge for Intersolar 2025. Last day, maybe our last guest. You have been busy this all day, so we very appreciate this opportunity to have you here.
Yeah.
Here's Michael, the CEO of Solarity. Here we have the banner.
I would like to get to know you, Michael, a bit better. Who you are, why Solarity, what you do, and Solarity as a company. Please tell us a bit about yourself and also Solarity.
Okay, I'm Michael, founder of Solarity. Company started 14 years ago in Czech Republic after, let's say, turbulent era of PV. And we started as a only international distributor in CEE, and gradually we developed into more international, in the end, more global distributor on four continents. And our scope is PV from A to Z, everything what EPC, our customer need. And so we deliver mostly modules, inverter, mounting system, also accessories, cables. And lately we have started also with bigger BSS and collaboration with Tekloman.
Okay, and you're based out of Prague, Czech Republic,
Yes,
right?
we are based in Prague, and we have different subsidiaries in Ukraine, in Middle East, Northern Africa, and Latin America.
Amazing. For a company from Czech Republic, it's really global in a sense. Hey, also tell us a bit more about the you mentioned the product that you're looking at. Tell us about the new product, PV. You said there was the turbulent market and you had to pivot. Tell us a bit more about why PV.
You mean the history? Or?
The history, yeah.
Yeah. So we started before with installations as small EPC installing company in Czech and Slovakia. We did it for a couple of years, but then the markets from both markets, Czech and Slovak, dropped from gigawatts to zero overnight. So we had also to switch to other markets, and it was only possible to go international through distribution because it's very hard to expand like EPC to new country because of experience, references, language, etc.
If you could tell us a bit more about the whole value chain. So the manufacturers, then you come as a distributor, and then there are EPCs. What are the differences? How do you collaborate with both of them?
It's more about added value, so how we as the distributors can help the installing companies, EPCs, and there are many areas which manufacturers cannot cover. The big company cannot have personnel in every country, and in all the teams like technical support, consulting, local warehouses. This is something what manufacturers can hardly manage. So that's why we have distribution network, and especially for small customers, manufacturers are not willing to talk with one inverter sales.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's impossible. That's why we have distribution networks and distributors. And depends on size, and we can provide different value to different type of customer, different size of the customer. So it's different if you have small installer of one-man show or 5 people, and it's different if you have like 50 people company.
Okay, and who are the typical size of EPC development that you look forward to? What are the size of PV plant projects that you look into?
Yeah, we say that we deliver from kilowatts to megawatts.
Okay.
So we actually cover multiple sectors from residential to commercial, industrial, up to utility. And so it depends on countries. Some countries are more residential. Sometimes it's shifting like now or lately to commercial. So we are covering all of these from kilowatts to megawatts.
And also we were discussing just off camera about the regulation within the Central and Eastern Europe and how it is not uniform. What are the challenges that you're facing currently with regulation?
First, it's not clear, it's delayed, it's also changing, it's not working. So I would describe this.
In what sense? No, disclaim everything. What is not working? What are the
No,
challenges?
I will give you one example from Czech Republic. Then when they announced one program in Q3, Q4 last year, and only now the first projects are really accepted and approved. So it takes too long, and also the different schemes they're not continuing. So there are pauses. For example, 6 months there's nothing to be done, and all the companies are waiting for a new subsidy scheme. So in this time, There are no contracts signed, which is not good for EPC because they have no business. They have no continuous business. So it's actually killing the companies, killing the profits, making extra expenses. And I would welcome some more stabilized legal framework and environment, for example, like what we can see in Germany.
And how often you see that the framework is changing? That is also something troubling you, right?
Often, yeah. So very often programs are valid for just 3 months, 6 months, and they change, they stop, and then you are waiting for a new one, which is different. People don't have experience with it, they need to learn it. Then something is not working. For example, some agency is not working or is not prepared. Also, governments are not prepared. So this is issuing some troubles, mostly for EPC and project developers.
Amazing. And also, Michael, you have been in the market for PV for very long. Now there's increasing storage solutions coming into the market. How do you see incorporating that into your offerings? And what have you done so far for the battery solution?
Okay, yeah, I think it's perfect complement. So we have customers who installed megawatts of power parks of PV in a past, and now, for example, they trade or they switch to spot pricing and they see negative pricing during the day. So then here the battery usage is the perfect complement. So most of our customers are coming from our new potential customers for BSS are coming from our previous PV customers who installed mostly commercial and industrial installations.
And how do you see it expanding within the Central and Eastern Europe market as well? You said a lot of the countries they have shitty grid, if quote unquote I can say that.
Yeah.
And why it's needed more for those countries?
Yeah, one thing, and we see it in many countries, the grid is overloaded. That's one thing. The second thing, that there's a lot of permits for new connections issued, but they are actually not used, and they are blocking connection of real projects. And the stability of the grid is a big issue. So I think batteries are perfect complement and can help also with the stability of the grid, with the price peaks, or especially during noon. So there are different motivations on different markets across Central Eastern Europe, but generally I see batteries as the next big move, and we see also, based on interest here at exhibition, there's huge interests from big number of EPCs and developers.
And also, just coming back to Solarity as a solution provider, what are the value-added services that you provide? Maybe training, maybe something else that you provide to your customers?
Sure. Yeah, like trainings, the technical support, all the logistics around is like basic stuff. What more or less all of the distributors can provide and providing. What we add now more extra is a complete package for BSS. So for those companies, those EPCs which don't have experience with building bigger megawatt hours storage, we can provide consulting, partly design. We can provide information connection with aggregators, with the banks in multiple countries across the region, if they need and if they are not experienced by themselves. Yeah. So we provide complete package of the services for BSS.
And do you have any successful case study that you would like to mention?
Yeah, we can mention latest bigger projects with Tekloman, 10 megawatt hours to be completed soon in Hungary. Yes.
And who are you doing it for?
We are doing it together with our former customer or current customer from PV, who we have long history with. So that's exactly good example of PV customer now who wanted to enlarge, who wanted battery. So we teamed up together, and we're providing other consulting service and together with manufacturer.
And also, if you could just tell us to the community who doesn't know, for something when you're having a battery storage project, how long it takes from the distribution, you providing them with the infrastructure to build it?
Yeah, very much depends on a status or stage of permits. Yeah, so from initial idea to have permits like zonal permit, building permit, connection permit ready can be easily 1 year plus or something like this. And then also like technical discussion, design and specification of a project can take 2-3 months. And then you have roughly 3 to 4 months for production and then 1 month for commissioning. So altogether we are talking about roughly 1.5 years from basic idea until completion.
In the meanwhile, do you store all the hardware stuff within your vicinity, or it comes directly once all the permit has been taken?
Depends on the size of the project. We are distributing also small batteries, which we have in our stock, so they are for immediate delivery, available for immediate delivery. But the bigger projects, like hundreds of kilowatt hours and megawatt hours, are made to order, and they are coming directly from factory.
Amazing. Daniel?
Yeah, in the regulation wise, are there now batteries mandatory in the energy projects or
Not everywhere.
optional?
More in Western Europe, I would say, but there are different programs and subsidies which are supporting or preferring batteries to be integrated in current PV power plants or together with new PV power plants.
Okay, great. And how do you see the knowledge gap in Central and Eastern Europe in order to accelerate the energy transition? Because maybe the technology is going faster than regulation. Policymakers know about what is happening in the market. How do you see this knowledge gap?
Yes, sometimes they issue some program which is partly nonsense. Sometimes they are too strict, like unnecessary strict. They are requiring additional testing, which is increasing the total project's capex, and they are not respecting, for example, some certification from other EU countries, which is unfortunately. And
Are they making their own or?
they are putting some extra layers or extra requirements which is not required by majority of our countries, or they are not respecting the
Like
basic of the
standard
standard certification. Yes, so they're requiring extra testing, for example, and stuff like this.
And have you seen some space of collaboration with academy, for example, in order to constrain this gap, knowledge gap?
Yeah, of course, there are discussions between academy and ministries and how to make it faster, easier, but it's not always successful. It's ongoing, and I think we should be more decisive here and make it more easy and faster, which is possible because we have good examples as well within EU. I think it is leading with reasonable approach in majority of cases. Also, sometimes Germany is creating their own extra standards, but depends on the time. But generally, I think there is a space for some unified legislation and approach in EU. It would make all parties involved the life much more easier.
Hey, Michael, one last question to you.
Yeah.
How do you see the future of energy within Central and Eastern Europe? What's the way forward?
I think now what we can feel here as well, and Intersolar last year and this year, is this transition to battery storage.
Yeah.
I think this is after PV or SPV was a big wow 15 years ago. Now we can see it in batteries, starting from small scale residential up to utility scale, super large batteries. So I think this is the main driver of C or energy sector globally, but in C as well.
Just to follow up on that, how fast it is growing?
Very fast. I think expectations are super high. We see a high number of projects, like everybody's talking about it, but not many companies they have actual experience. And this is a little tricky, as it was tricky with PV. Also, not PV projects end up well, and I think it's important to connect with experienced parties and providers and with quality manufacturers.
Amazing. Hey, thank you very much,
Yeah.
Michael, for talking with us.
Yeah, thank you.
And distribution is an important
Thank
part
you, and
of
all the
energy.
best with the partnership
Yeah.
with Tecloman. Yeah, we look forward. What are you going to do next?
Perfect.
And in which country? Because you are well spread.
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
and
Thank you.
goodbye to all the community. Thank you for watching the interview, and see you the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Bye.